Hey everyone, Gil here at Camppatton Family Compound. I'm out in the shop and I'm working on another little project here for you guys to show you guys some ways to get along without certain things. Confusing? Well, we'll straighten it out here in just a second. Alright guys, so what I'm talking about here is something you get at the store, like Walmart, or a store where they have these things, to provide you with light. I'm not talking about batteries. I'm talking about lamp oil. What are you going to do if you have a bunch of oil lamps and they're providing the light for your house and you run out of lamp oil? Well, there are several alternatives, and if you look at it, what is a lamp oil? What is a lamp that uses oil? Okay, so you all recognize this type lamp? Okay, so what we have here is we have a reservoir in the bottom. There's a wick inside. I don't know if you can see that wick moving up and down. There it goes. Now, the wick is immersed in the fuel down here, which nowadays we call just a synthetic lamp oil here. But this was not the original lamp oil used. The original oil used was from fish and then whales. So you're looking at sea creature oil. They used to harvest a lot of oil from fish and stuff, and they used it in the lamps over in the old country, England and France and stuff. And then they started learning they learned how to hunt whales, and whale oil was, that oil was really good stuff. But then they discovered other types of oil. Vegetable oils, olive oil. Olive oil goes back even farther. Remember the type of lamp, the lamp that the genie was in? That was an olive oil lamp. It had the little wick in the end, where the spout was, and that's how they got their light. Well, these can run on olive oil too. In fact, olive oil is a very nice oil to run lanterns on. But how much olive oil do we have? Around our house, we have enough for cooking. The good stuff. Well, when we're not cooking good stuff, we got a different type of oil. Set this down here. We got vegetable oil. So let me take this apart here for a second. Those two packs are a bear to take apart. Anyways, vegetable oil. All right. See, it sloshes around nicely. Not quite as good as olive oil, but can we use vegetable oil in a lamp? Let's find out. Okay, so I'm going to put some oil in the old railroad type lantern you see here, and we're going to test it out and see if it works. First thing I'm doing though, I put on some gloves so I don't get all oily and greasy, because this is not the only fuel we're going to be using here. Run this down inside here a bit. Run the wick back down and shake it up a little bit. Get the oil up on the wick. Let it soak up the wick, because right now it's down at the bottom and it's a little bit thicker than your commercial grade lamp oil. See how thin that is? Shaking up there, it's almost like water. whereas the vegetable oil's a tad bit thicker. It moves around, but see it's slower and it's sloshing. All right, so let's see, is that oil coming up on it yet? Yeah, I don't know if you can see it really well here, but the top ½ inch or 3/4 inch is still dry, and then it gets wet down below here. So what I got to do is I got to work it back down in and try to get the oil to soak up on it here. It may take a minute or two. Down too low here, but just let that sit. While that's sitting soaking up, we're going to talk about another type of oil. Now, a lot of times in the old Western movies you hear them talking about kerosene lanterns, these being kerosene lanterns. Well, and even these being kerosene lanterns. So, how many have kerosene around? Not too many. What is kerosene in modern terminology? Well, how many know what diesel fuel is? The diesel fuel you put in your vehicles or your tractors, that's number 2 diesel fuel. You can also get number 1 diesel fuel, which is a lot thinner, comparatively speaking. So it's thinner than number 2. It doesn't gel up in cold temperatures like number 2 does. In fact, sometimes they'll add for 5 gallons of number 2 diesel fuel, they'll add anywhere from a ½ gallon to a gallon of number 1 diesel fuel to help stabilize it, to keep it from gelling up in the cold temperatures. Well, number 1 diesel is also known as kerosene. And as it so happens, see that 55-gallon drum there? That's kerosene, number 1 diesel fuel. And I add it to the fuel of my Coyote tractor to keep its fuel from gelling up in the wintertime. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out some kerosene out of there, which is your number 1 diesel fuel, and we can use it. Right? Wrong. What we're going to do is we're going to try putting regular old number 2 diesel fuel in the lantern and see how that works. All right? So hang on a second here. Let me get this backed up out of the way here, because I don't want to be bumping into it and spilling stuff here. So here's what we're going to do. Screw the bowl off. Now I don't want it running all out at once, so I'm not going to release the vent cap. I'm going to make it so it has to flow a little bit slower. Alright, there we go. Not going to fill it all the way up. Don't need to. So this is the diesel I buy down here at the local gas station. Now as I put the wick in it, you see how fast it starts running up the wick here? See how much more. This is a lot thinner than the vegetable oil, but it's still not as thin as this oil. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to crank this thing here down to that point there, slosh it around a little bit, get it up on the wick, and give it a few minutes to start wicking up there. Now let's go back here and check on the oil lamp. Let's see what its wick looks like here. Yeah, and of course I just turned it the wrong way, so stand by while I fish it out and get it hooked back up again. actually this wasn't as hard as I thought, so I'm going to show you what I did. On the oil lamp here, this top piece here is spring loaded, so I pulled it all the way up and I tipped the globe out of the way. Then I rotated this a little bit, lifted this out. There's your wick there. I pushed it up just a little bit. And make sure I'm turning it the right way again. And there's the wick coming back up. Now I'm going to set this down, back down in its spot, and then turn it back in to lock it. Got to have it on a steady surface here. Okay. Set this back up in here. Make sure everything's in there right. Okay. Now as you can see, the oil is almost completely all the way to the top there. Just a little bit that it's not there, but that's fine. We can work with that. So this lifts up and locks up. Show you this again up close here. This little lever right here, it lifts up the globe. So I lift it up and it exposes the wick. Now you can see the flame starting to go down the side of the wick there as it ignites the vegetable oil. And then we can turn it down in here and we can adjust the flame height. We're going to let it go in here because the top of a little bit of that wick didn't have oil in it. So we're going to let it sit here, and as it heats up, the oil below it draws it up into it. So this will be going good here in a minute. So that one's doing that. This one apart. Turn it the right direction here. Yep. And yeah, it's got fuel on it there. Take this way here just a little bit more there. Make sure that's tight. Okay. There we go. And we'll bring that wick up to the top now. Boom, there that one goes. All right, I'll put it down here to adjust the flame on it. Put the glass chimney back on it here. And there you see it brightened up as it causes the air to flow up from beneath it. Okay, too high, get it right in the right spot. There we go. And there we have a nice bright light there. This one here looks like it may have gone out here. Well, let me try another match on it because I think I left it up there too long when I went to deal with the other one. Now, one problem I can see right now with this, because vegetable oil is thicker, it doesn't want to draw like it should. So what I can do, and I'll do it later after I burn this down a little bit, you can mix your fuels. So I can take this and I can mix it 50-50 with diesel fuel, and that would thin out the oil enough to make it draw right, and it would also make the diesel fuel last longer than it would just burning it straight. Now olive oil is a lot thinner than the vegetable oil, and you get the good olive oil. It may need a different type of wick, but it will work because I used to run these on olive oil before. So this was an experiment for the vegetable oil. Emphasize again, do not use. You don't want to use gasoline, white gas, or alcohol in these. it's growing brighter on its own, so it's drawing up the mixture of the vegetable oil and lamp oil. So it's thinned it out a little bit. So you can use vegetable oil and mix it 50-50 with the lamp oil and vegetable oil mixture there, and you will be able to use it. Diesel fuel here is doing just fine. So, and I could do the same thing. I could add the vegetable oil to the diesel fuel. Diesel fuel will fill up, will thin out the vegetable oil and make it work. So the diesel fuel works just fine. Let me turn off the overhead. Most part. And we still have a nice bright light there. And we still have a semi bright light here that's working. It's going to take a little bit to get more of the mixture up on the wick there. The final results are diesel fuel works good. Cheap vegetable oil by itself doesn't work too good with this type of a lantern. It may work okay when you got like a half-inch diameter rope wick lantern. It might work on one of those. The mixture of 50% vegetable oil with 50% kerosene, diesel fuel, lamp oil, that will work. That will, at least you can use vegetable oil to extend your other fuels for lighting. As always, you want to share preparedness with your friends, neighbors, relatives, co-workers, everybody, because you want everybody prepared. Because if they're prepared, they're not going to come to your house after your supplies and take your supplies away from your family. All right, so you want everybody else to get prepared too. As always, stay happy, stay safe. I'll see you in the next video. But before you go, don't hang up. Don't just turn this off yet. I got another little clip coming up here right after this, talking about our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So check that out before you go. All right? Bye.